absorb the companies that built the space shuttle, which are all private companies. NASA works with private companies all the time, but this is the first company that they're not handing the rocket over to NASA when they're done with it.
Right.
This is their rocket. They're going to control it. They're going to put humans up. They're just selling seats on the rocket. And so that's kind of it's a big deal. And they're on the pad, ready to launch. They'll be going up early April. Virgin Galactic, they've got real vehicles. They were testing them earlier this week or last week, and it's made. I mean, they've got it. It's got paint on it. They're going to begin doing rocket tests, and they'll probably end their test sometime in 2011. We'll probably have paying passengers in 2011, 2012. But you need to understand, they have real vehicles today. Both of these companies have actual hardware on the planet today, and even they won't be ready to fly people until 2012 at the soonest. Right. So how someone can say, I'm going to put humans on Mars, I have no vehicle yet, by 2012, 2015, it's crazy talk. It's just simply crazy talk.
Now, but do you think that commercial space flight is how we're going to get there?
To Mars?
Yeah, or to the moon, back to the moon. I mean, they killed the Ares 1.
Well, it also depends on what you mean, how we are. How the U.S. is, how humans are.
Humanity.
Let's back up.
I just want to be specific.
Hang on, let's back up and be clear. Constellation is not dead yet. The proposed fiscal year 2011 plan is just that. It is a proposed plan that has not passed through Congress, which means that Constellation, as of this exact moment in time, is not dead. Ares 1, in my personal opinion, was a bad idea from the beginning. We could have thrown the Orion capsule on top of the Delta IV Heavy. We could throw it on top of an Atlas V. We could even throw it on top of possibly something like the Falcon 9. So why we needed an Ares 1 is beyond me. I don't understand that. Now, there are those in the space industry that will disagree with me and say, no, that won't work, except that then I'll bring up, well, now that they're talking about Constellation, that's Constellation. That's exactly what
Bad habits die hard. Sorry.
Talking about canceling Constellation, that's what they're talking about doing, taking the Orion capsule and sticking it on top of a Delta IV Heavy. So if it wouldn't work, why will it work now? So Ares 1 was a bad idea. What were good ideas, though, were the Orion crew capsule. That's necessary because you need to be able to go to the moon and survive re-entry at 25,000 miles an hour because that's lunar re-entry speed. You also need to be able to do a heavy lift vehicle that's pretty much Saturn V powered or greater, and that was the Ares 5. But keep in mind, NASA never really began development on Ares 5 a whole lot. They were concentrating on Ares 1, which was, they never even got a real Ares 1 out the door. They fired an Ares 1X, which was essentially not like an Ares 1 at all. It didn't have the same solid rocket boosters as a real Ares. It didn't have an upper stage like a real Ares. It didn't have the guidance software like a real Ares. In fact, really the only part of the Ares 1X that was actually part of the Ares 1X were the parachutes, which didn't work. Now, having said that, it's good that they didn't work. That's why you run tests, so I can't fault them for that. They learned a lot from that. That's exactly what that mission was for.
Right.
But the rest of the mission, I look at that going, what's the point? Why did we just spend all of that money? You know what it was? It was a giant show. It was a giant show for the media to say, look, here we've got something that will work.
Which took 3 days to do.
Yeah. Tribal electrification. So anyhow, the point is, just because Constellation is canceled doesn't mean that NASA, or is proposed to be canceled, doesn't mean that NASA can't go back to the moon or onto Mars. I think there's going to be a bit of a compromise between the current proposed plan and what we're actually going to do. And my hope is we leave a heavy lifter in the mix, such as an Ares 5, or maybe even a shuttle mount lifter, or even a Jupiter 241 Heavy, something. And then also leave the Orion crew capsule, because that's important. You got to be able to get the crew up there. Even if they don't, I'm not sure commercial will go to the moon. They have to have a fiscal reason to do it. Why are they going to put humans on the moon? What's the financial incentive for SpaceX to put humans up there?
Yeah, I still think if anyone does it, it's going to be a government. And whether or not that's the U.S. government, that's to be seen at this point. But if anyone does it, it's going to be a government of sorts.
I can see one huge reason why a commercial entity would do just that.
Because they can.
No. Resources. Imagine being able to bring back things that are either a mineral that can be used as a new fuel source, or being able to...
See, that's the key word right there. Being able to bring back.
understand the amount of fuel and energy that it takes to break our gravity well and get over to the moon is astronomically high. The number I heard, and I've not been able to verify this, but the number I heard is that to bring every gallon of water up to the International Space Station costs us $18,000 because of the amount of fuel that we need to use to expend to actually lift that gallon of water up to the ISS. The moon is infinitely harder than the ISS because you need so much more speed to get there. Then, which means the vehicles that you're going to have will be tiny. They have to be small by design until we find another propulsion system.
Right.
And I'm a huge advocate of saying the propulsion systems we have right now don't work. At which point all the rocket scientists say, well, what do you propose we use? And then I go to them and I say, I don't know, go invent something.
What about these ion drive stuff they're using on some of these probes?
Ion drives are space only. The problem we have is getting out of our own gravity well. Once you get out of our gravity well, we can kick on that ion drive, and it's basically like hitting, is like getting a Toyota Prius. It can't go very fast, but if you just lay on the accelerator pedal the entire time, eventually you'll get there. And if you just keep laying on the accelerator pedal with absolutely no resistance, you'll go really, really fast. That's what an ion drive will get you. And a twin ion drive is very Star Wars-like, so that's pretty cool. But it's not a real technology that will get you out of our own gravity well, and that's the technology we're missing.
What about things like the space elevator in regards to getting cargo up, then hitting an ion drive ship?
You know, it doesn't even necessarily sound great. These are interesting concepts, and I would love to see one of them work, but right now, space elevator is not a realistic technology. They just simply can't build a strand of anything strong enough to be able to...
Well, they can build it strong enough. They can't build it strong enough and long enough. Or they can build it long enough, but it's not strong enough. So it's the combination.
Well, that's why they're turning to nanotubes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the nanotubes, they can only make this long. So a nanotube is not only a nano like width, but also long, right? I mean, they can't make them very long yet. So, I mean, there are issues with the elevator. We will find a technology. I have no doubt that a technology will either some crazy scientist somewhere will I say you're crazy, right? There's no way what you're talking about you'll never be able to do. One of them will prove me wrong. And that will be the most awesome day in my life because they are going to develop something that will get us a fuel economic or an energy economic way to get into low Earth orbit. Now, once you're in low Earth orbit, you're halfway to the rest of the universe. Yeah. We got to get them into a suborbital fueling station or station of sorts, which, by the way, is not the ISS, at least not its current inclination, that can get us to the moon, that can get us onto Mars. We don't have any of that stuff in place today.
Right.
Can a corporate company do it? Sure, they can, but the amount of money that they have to spend to get to the moon to gather those resources, they will probably not yield a positive return because they won't be able to bring enough of it back. And, I mean, it's hundreds of millions of dollars per mission to do that. So the amount of stuff they'll have to bring back is astronomically high. And, frankly, why are they doing humans for that? Why would they use a human for that when a robot would work just as well?
Robots. Well, I don't know. That's a very valid point. Very good point.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. As an evangelist of this stuff, I sit there and I go, we should be doing this. So I'd love to get humans back on the moon. Heck, I want to broadcast my show from the moon, right? I want to do a Space Vidcast live from the surface of the moon where users can do exactly this format and ask us their questions and what's it like to be on the moon and go outside. I mean, just do cool stuff from the surface of the moon. Get humanity's imagination sparked and lit up again about space travel and what we'll be able to do in space. Right now, we've hit this lull period. The space shuttle was an amazing vehicle, but I think it was also one of the worst things to happen to space because it made it so commonplace for us to just kind of go up to the ISS. But it can't go any further. It can basically go out as far as Hubble, and that's it. So we lost our motivation as a society. We lost it all. We don't care as much anymore. Sure, there are the advocates and the geeks, us tech geeks. We care about all this stuff. We care about the particle physics. We care about the space travel. We care about the technology, and we care about the sci-fi and the tele. I mean, that's what we do. But ask the average American, I don't think so.
I bet these people have names.
I bet these people have names. So,
Bob.
Yeah.
I think it's due to apathy and not really caring because it doesn't affect them. They don't. I mean, I